Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
This is Sparta!
It's the Al Travis Show, and I think this is going to be fun. We've got Matt on baseball in a week where there's very little baseball actually been played, but there's so much to talk about. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Al. How are you?
Well, again, fine, thank you. The whole MLB thing and the All-Star game, I know all Al does is whine. I think in a lot of ways, Major League Baseball proved me right this week. That they're going out of their way. How do I put this? It's like they don't accept baseball's good enough on its own to stand up. We now must tweak it for the kids. We must do a little something different for the kids or the next generation. Maybe I'm completely nuts and I'm wrong, but it's ruining the game for those of us who've been playing it or watching it our whole lives. You're kind of shaking your head. The example, well, we don't want pitchers to have to pitch their arms out, so we'll just when it's tied after 9, we'll have somebody on second base. That's every ball player who's died up to this point is rolling over in their grave. Never liked it. Want to make the bases a little bigger. I guess I don't give a crap about that. I do enjoy the pitch clock. Again, keeping games. The last game the Twins played like 2.5 hours. That is mint perfect. Yeah. So there's things I can accept for change, but this Major League All-Star game, it was a clown show. Sorry, you watched it. Your thoughts on the All-Star game?
Yeah, let's start with the positives. This is the first All-Star game I've watched in its entirety for years. Okay. And there is something fun as a fan in watching all of those players on the field together, right? Yep. The names you hear of Pete Crow Armstrong or someone, a new superstar, and just seeing them in the flesh on the screen, kind of cool. And seeing how they interact with each other and build some camaraderie across teams. I like that. I did not like, so they tested the balls and strikes challenge thing. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yes.
They're thinking about using this full time next year, and I don't know what the constraints for that will be, but I don't like challenging balls and strikes. I think if you're talking about something that might change the outcome of the game, like it's a tie and a home run, okay, you can challenge that. But balls and strikes, you got to give a little. I think that takes something away from the authority of an umpire who has to have some degree of authority to control a game, in my view.
Or you set up that little square box with what our radon, whatever they do, and let it be completely up to that. All the ref's going to do is get it in his ear, strike, ball, we're going to move on, and then he's got the call at the plate, right? He's going to call who slides in, who doesn't. Right. If they do it that way, but it's got to be this quick. Yeah. This idea that, because every strike is going to be questioned when it's your third one.
Yes. Yeah, right. For sure. But back to your point, it takes too much. Yes, one or the other. But adding more time to the game when we've made progress on limiting, out of control. Yeah. We don't want 3.5-hour games anymore. The other thing was the way the game ended, right?
Well, that's what we're going to talk. So let's get to the game. So here's again my issue with the All-Star game. It's better for the pitchers. Only in that, you only got one inning, get yourself warmed up, lathered up, give them your best 3 outs and go. Joe Ryan did a nice job. Mm-hmm. But most of these pitches for the hitter, maybe that first time you see him, you don't get it. But by the time you get around that order for the second or third time, now it goes more toward, am I not lying here? The batter now has more advantage. He's seen what this cat's got. And Absolutely. The batters pick up. You don't get that in the All-Star game. No, every time you come up, it's a new pitcher.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why in a number of, in regular games, by the time you get to the third, iteration of the batting of the lineup, they take the pitcher out often for that reason. Yeah.
And on that same line, I do like the change that if you come in as a relief pitcher, you have to pitch to three hitters or the end of an inning, whichever comes first or something, right? You have to hit 3 batters. I enjoy that in that there's a little more mental to the game. If I put him in here, he's going to face 2 lefties. I think that adds a little something for me. I don't know if your thoughts on that. If putting a pitcher in who's just going to go one batter drives me nuts because then you had 10 more minutes to watch another guy come in. Where are you at on the pitching changes?
I agree completely with that. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So back to the All-Star game, every inning, new pitcher, and so fine. It gives plenty for the announcers to talk about. You got his stats and everything. It helps him out. And the game, as far as games go, we're down, my American League, down 6 runs, and you hung in there. Good for you. We come back. Thank you, Byron Buxton and some others. So it was entertaining in that way, that it was a tie.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of the world woke up just like you were told us out there. You went to bed. It was a tied ball game.
Yeah, and even the commentators, the guys calling the game, didn't know that that they were going to go to the swing off idea. They've said, okay, this is the first time it's going to end in a tie. The first time the All-Star game ever ends in a tie, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I think in American sports culture, Americans hate ties because somebody has to win. In my view, that's pretty exciting. I mean,
yeah,
they fought to a tie. They were pretty equal. That says a lot about both leagues. And there's nothing at stake, right? They're not playing a tournament, so you don't have to. Neither team has to win. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so you go to bed, then you wake up in the morning, they have this swing-off thing. So let's discuss the swing-off thing. They're liking it, I presume, to like soccer, 90-minute battle royal, penalty kick kind of thing. I'm against it. I'm against it all the way. And we don't want the pitchers have to go back out. Okay, fine, call it a tie, let's move on. But what happens is, and if you were going to be one of the coaches, and as I understand this, to prep for this, that's why the announcers should have known about it, they had to pick their batters before the game who would be in the swing-off. As I understand this is why Ohtani wasn't in it. This is why Judge wasn't in that, who you'd want to sing in a swing-off, right? They weren't in it. Byron Buxton wasn't in it because the coaches felt they'd already be on the bench and cooled back down. So they were picking people that they thought would be coming off the field, still in the game, still warmed up. Well, if you're going to do the swing-off, don't we want the people that we really want to be swinging off? They even messed up the mess-up.
Yeah, no, for sure. When I saw that Jonathan Aranda for the Rays was in the swing-off, are you serious? But I also saw a reference, and again, I don't know much about it because this was completely new to me, was that the coaches asked for volunteers before the game. Did you see that?
Yes, I read something about that. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, this is what we do.
I mean, if you're in the National League, Schwarber's the guy that you want, for sure. But yeah, or Ohtani, but Schwarber certainly would be in that category. But yeah, I don't want Aaron Judge up there for the American.
Yeah, and we didn't get that. So even with the let's end this in a fantastic, fireworks display of homers, you didn't even get the guys you really wanted. So that's strange. Now on the home run derby, I like the fact that a catcher won it. By the way, would love Bucks to go bigger. But then that was some weird stuff too, and we're new at it, so we don't have 150 years of rules. But just the most home runs wins. That's kind of the thought of the game. But in one of the tiebreakers, his went further than yours, so you're in.
Right. Yeah, that's weird. I guess, though, if you hit the same number of home runs, you got to have some way to break the tie, right? Because they go, 4 rounds?
Yeah, I get it. But then all of a sudden it's a stat track, something that says yours was 6 inches longer than mine. I'm like, I don't even trust my Garmin watch for giving me my yardage for a golf ball that close. It just seems gimmicky, sir. I'm sorry. And again, the home run derby I at least enjoyed. Buxton got to the second round, and then it was this weird thing. And why is it catchers can't hit? He's the first.
I think it's the most demanding position on the field, right? They're crouching down all season. I mean, that's why what Cal Raleigh is doing this year is so amazing. If you look at history, how many catchers have been great hitters? They're not a whole lot. You got the Johnny Benches and the Mike Piazzas, but
this is what bothers me about that is because this is my thought, and I played catcher by the way in 6th grade, so I'm not completely out to lunch here. You see more pitches than anybody else, right? You are there in the box. You see hundreds upon hundreds more than anyone else on the field who hits well or not. I would think that ball would look slower to you no matter what, because you're just always there. I would think they'd have an advantage at hitting. Now, they're squatty. Most of us are. Maybe that's why they don't hit the home runs and get the home run derby. But I would think is that a crazy science for me to think you see hundreds of pitches every day? Mm-hmm. When you come to the plate, it should be nothing, I would think.
Yeah, no, I think in terms of developing an eye for how the ball's coming in, but I just think their bodies get so dinged up. Getting their bodies to actually hit the ball the way they want to is a challenge often.
That's probably.
Can we talk about Cal Raleigh?
Please. You want to talk some stats? Let's do that on the other side. Is it okay? Let's go to break.
Sounds good.
I want to throw one more thing in about the whole draft, which they had no one watched. Then we'll talk about that. I'd love it. We've got him. It's Matt on baseball on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria. Some like to experience the outdoors and all the fun winter in Minnesota can provide. Pick your favorite way to get in touch with nature. Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
Love having him on. He's Matt on baseball. Matt, just fill this out. Maybe baseball should stop trying to be like basketball or the football, and because you see, again with the All-Star game, I think the basketball NBA All-Star game is a joke. It's just a show off of running up and down the court, no defense of being played. 175 to 185 is not basketball. But that all being said, football's now to play in flag football. They've gone to a place where they can't come back from. I would use this as where I'm going. When it comes to the draft, however, ESPN, when they do the NFL draft, it's 24/7 coverage of 4 rounds of drafts, the kids you've never heard of, but they get their shot, and they might be playing football 6 weeks later or 8 weeks later, during the season. Same with basketball. You're waiting, they've got picks on who, people doing their mock drafts, and you can join them and make your own drafts. And baseball can't compete there. And they had their draft here this last week. Everyone's going, they did. No one showed up. No kid showed up to be drafted. There was no TV and all the rest. It doesn't work in baseball. Stop trying to make it work. Yeah. You're not going to see these kids for how long? What does it take a kid in high school or college gets drafted? When's the next time you even see him?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be years later.
Yeah.
The point you're making is stop making a big deal and trying to bring everybody together in one room for it, right? Because there's still going to be a draft.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to draft. But don't pretend that it's somehow, remember this kid, because 4 years from now, if he goes from AAA to the AA to the, hello, I don't remember him anymore. I don't care. Not that I don't care. That sounds weird. But they try to make it like NBA, and it's not. These kids you see, at least in the first round, you could see them on your team next season. And that's exciting.
And that would be quick, right? Stop trying to make it into theater when it's not. It's still interesting. I've read a lot of analysis about, who did well in the draft. But if a player makes it to the major league level within a year after being drafted, that is one of the quickest things we see these days. Usually you got to go through single A and double A and triple A. And a lot of these, probably most of these players aren't ever going to make it to the major league level. So, I think trying to make it like the NBA and the NFL really doesn't work. It's just
you're agreeing with me on a lot of things. You're going to talk about that catcher, Riley. How?
I was just going to mention as we head into the second half, 3 really interesting milestones to keep an eye on. One is sort of a group milestone, and the other are 2 individual milestones. On the group side, the most players ever to hit 50 home runs in one season was 4 in 2001. Was
that to Juiced era? Was that? Yes, all those guys that were
supposed to be Sosa.
Okay.
It was Bonds.
Okay.
It was McGuire, 2001, I think. We now have 50. We have 5 players now who are on track to hit 50 home runs this season, which would be a record. So something to keep
Ohtani, Judge, who are this Riley?
Raleigh, Schwarber, and Eugenio Suarez, who is the third baseman for the Diamondbacks.
Okay. Well, that is something to keep an eye on. Now, and what's funny about this, no one's talking about any of these guys being juiced up. This is just athletes. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think so. And there are people being tested. I don't know how well that's working, but it's still catching people, a couple people a year. So Cal Raleigh is on track to have the greatest season in history for a catcher, and he's a switch.
Good for him.
So the most home runs ever by a catcher were 48, Salvador Perez in 2021. Raleigh is at 38 already.
Good for him.
That's incredible. He's on track to break the record for a switch hitter, which was Mickey Mantle back in the 50s with 54. He's having an incredible year.
Good for him.
And as a catcher, which is really something. The other thing I would just mention is, again, in the latest chapter of how great Shohei Ohtani is, I think 6 players in history have made it to 150 runs, only 2 since World War II, and he's on track to break 150 runs scored. The last player to do that was Jeff Bagwell in 2000. So pretty amazing.
Wow, that is absolutely outstanding. Then with the last 2 minutes, what teams do you have to watch out for? Which teams do you think have got themselves either healed up enough or got themselves steadied their ships that you think they're going to guarantee themselves something? Toronto's been playing great ball, but that's an obvious one. Is there anybody you think an up-and-comer?
Yeah, look at the Red Sox. I think they've won 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
Really interesting. You could have a situation in which the AL East has all 3 wildcard teams. I mean, if things stay the way they are now.
That's the jinx, because we were saying that with the American Central about 2.5 months ago. Now we're 11.5 games out. Speaking of my Minnesota Twins, even though the 6-4 in the last few games, I let a couple go, they are still 11 games out of Detroit, but they're still 5 games out of getting a wild card spot or being in the hunt for that. Mm-hmm. It's a sad day for the Minnesota Twins. How are your Braves doing?
Oh,
looky here. They're in the same boat we are. Would you have thought, oh my goodness, would you have thought 11 games under 500?
Something like that. I've stopped. Yeah.
Wow.
Paying too close attention. They are just with a team with that talent. I mean, two disappointing seasons in a row, really.
Yeah.
Their pitching is their 2 best pitchers probably out for the season, if not most of the season. Their offense is not hitting. I just don't know what's going on with the Braves. So what will be interesting to watch is what teams like that do at the trade deadline, right?
Yeah.
Because ownership and management is very careful because you don't want to send the wrong signal to the fans.
Yeah. Why don't we do a little who's buyers, who's sellers next time you're on? Is that fair?
Yeah,
All
that
right.
sounds good because we'll be close to the deadline then. Yeah.
Matt, I got to fly. We're out of time. Love having you on. Thanks for being here, sir.
Great to be here.
He's Matt on baseball.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try